not personal, not personally. Like I like to get your views on stuff like this socialism, capitalism thing, right? So hold on, let me make sure I got the audio right here. Yeti, speak here. Yeti. Larry, we were all come on in, round up, homies. You talking about your views on the debt forgiveness for the college loans versus the PPP. I want you to just share what you were just telling me.
Yeah, I feel like there's so much backlash on people who's getting student loan forgiveness. Like we're always in someone else's pockets, but I don't recall the same amount of energy put out there for people who got PPP loans and got those forgiven. That's just all I'm saying. It's like the tax code is not made for employees or the little guy, whatever you want to call it. It's not made
Oh,
for the everyday person. And this
so deep.
one little thing of $10,000, $20,000
Which
forgiveness.
what you're saying is not a lot, right? Are you like saying that's not a lot of money, or you're saying that's a lot of money?
I mean, it's a lot of money to someone. Like I said, so if someone's going from, man, I got $50,000 left and I got $20,000 forgiven, like I mean, that's a significant piece.
I got you.
Really, there's nearly 50%. I mean, there's people who got a lot more, where it's like this is just a drop in the bucket, like, but it's something. But it goes back to the system itself. The tax system is made for big business owners and investors. Like
Owner.
it's made for that.
Period.
It's
Period.
made
Let's
for
start
them.
there. Let's just start there, right? Period. That's where it starts,
Yeah,
right?
that's where it starts because you got to realize that that's the government is relying on the private sector to provide the housing, to provide the food, to like they'll do certain things, but most of the time it's just providing incentives for those who want to do these things. Like, hey, um if you buy this rental property, whatever, you get depreciation, so forth and so forth. Um, and so it's like, oh, if we got a lot of companies struggling during COVID. Okay, we're gonna get these PPP loans, and now you can get it forgiven. Which, in the grand scheme of things, like the question was always put out, like, who's paying for these loans? Whereas, like, on the student loan side, it's like, okay, this person's already paid for it. The school itself already made their interest, and then some. Like they, like they probably have projected out all of that, but that's not as big of an effect on the overall like taxes and inflation and all of that. Whereas, like I said, we don't have to really get into that aspect of it. It's just funny that proven that the tax code is made for business owners is now it's kind of crept into people's psychological aspect of how they are viewing other people who are getting a little boost up or a little relief off of their student loan. I've been on both sides. Like I've had a full scholarship, and I also got student loan debt to go get additional education. So, and I pay that also. Like I'm not benefiting from student loan forgiveness. I didn't get a PPP loan, so I didn't benefit off of that. So I'm rather
Wow.
neutral
You are
in,
neutral.
in the whole scheme of things. So I tell people, if you want to come at me, like I'm not coming at any bias. I'm just observing.
In my humble opinion. Listen, today is about oops, wrong thing. Today is not about loan forgiveness or any of that mess, but I just want everybody to see. Here is this is just straight from Wikipedia, but I guess we'll have to research this more. This is the endowment. Harvard, 53 billion. Yale, this is in billions. Look at this, Larry. They you know what? Maybe they can afford to lose a few dollars. I don't want to count their money. It's like somebody saying, Chris, you can afford to lose, you know?
Yeah.
So we got
So
Dharma. Go ahead. Go ahead.
like I said, I think it's just it's like I said, it's all this back and forth of Democrats,
Mm.
Republicans, yada yada yada, and it's like, okay, the everyday person got a little relief here.
Ain't that
Um,
Liberty?
Let's not rain on their parade for what it is. Um,
I know Hampton University when I was there was 100 million, and I thought that was a lot. Now it's 200 million, which is when I look in the grand scheme of things, it's peanuts.
yeah,
I mean, these are all in the billions. So I just don't understand. Colleges they can afford to lose a few dollars. Not to say that they should or whatever, but
yeah,
I don't want to.
they're not going to. I mean,
They've already been paid. It's the government that's losing the money,
it's
right?
already been paid, and then like I say, it's funny. I have to see because the front end of it is that you get this forgiveness and you get it. You're not having to pay taxes on the forgiveness of at least in the federal. I know there's some states, and I think someone may have put a comment on North Carolina may have been one of the
Yes.
states that are allowing forgiveness. Like Virginia is one of the states that like I think they're still kind of making a determination if they're going to forgive it as well. But
That's
on the
terrible.
school side of things, if they got this on their books as potential income coming in, they're having to basically write it off as bad, like basically it's bad debt. It turn around and becomes a bit of a tax benefit from them because they get to write off. They have to write off this income that's supposed to be coming in or this
They can write
interest.
it off in that year.
Yeah. So
Holy
whatever the
cow!
year, the forgiveness is like they're like so
Wow.
that's because as I tell people, if there's an income on one end, there's an expense on somebody. So
Mm.
someone's not like typically when they come from forgiveness, like it's considered the person typically receiving his income, even though they haven't received anything, they just got some of their debt wiped off. That means it becomes an expense on somebody else's side or whoever the lender is
No doubt.
from there. So I don't know. Like I said, it's a for me, it's fascinating just to kind of see like how people can, for the smallest of things, turn on each other. Where like people are really in need of stuff like that. Like,
Yeah,
some
some
people
people.
don't. Some people don't even think it's even worth it. They much rather have like the interest cut off than just worry about
10K.
and $20,000 of principal reduction. But whatever little bit helps.
That's crazy how you were saying how you getting. I didn't know when the PPP forgiveness came. I want to say I'm a beneficiary of that. I'm being completely. I want everybody to know because I'm transparent. The more transparent I am, man, I'm good. That way, it's all out.
Mm-hmm.
I got murdered on my Airbnbs, right? So it was when COVID came, I had zero people staying. Right? It's just a fact. So when I look at that, I didn't hear anybody was upset at that, Larry. Not one person did I hear say you shouldn't forgive the PPP. And I'm not saying that it's right or wrong either way. What's your opinion?
I feel the exact same way about the student loan debt. Like it goes back to, hey, what did you do with this money? And then if the government decides to forgive you for it, then like what does it got to do with me? Like
Gotcha.
like and everyone's talking about like government still printing money, yada yada yada. Okay, yeah, they're constantly still printing. They're still printing money now for a lot of programs and stuff that I mean, you can question every single thing that they're pushing money to
Hmm.
at this point. I mean, some people still have vision with Section 8 and the money that's used for that. And all, so it's like it's
When does it stop?
find something to complain about, but the government's trying to put money in business owners' hands, or at least
Period.
allow them and give them
Period.
incentives to continue to be business owners and continue to be investors to
Period.
help generate, keep the wheel turning for the economy from that
Hmm.
standpoint there. So I think it kind of just goes back to it, just proving like between the billions of dollars that's spent both ways, like the more significant effect is on the PPP side of it than on the student loan forgiveness side of it.
Yeah, well, huge. I mean, that's like apples to oranges. I mean, they can't even be compared, can they?
No, it can't even be
You
compared.
said you give me an example about $1 million PPP. I never heard anybody complain about $1 million PPP loan being forgiven. I mean, it never even hit the news.
I mean, there was some grumblings about once again, like where's the money coming from? Like governments like they're killing the dollar and all that stuff. Like there was rumblings about that, but
I didn't see it.
not to the extent where it's like questioning people's financial literacy. Like that's what's going on. Like I hear stuff like that now,
Oh
where
man, that's
like,
terrible.
especially with like said, I mean, I'm from a generation where like it was go to college or military. So like
Yep, me too.
getting like your parents may or may not been fully versed on the student loan side, where they assume that you're going to come out with a job or whatever, and then so it's like now people are more educated now and are making better choices for their children, and their children can make better choices on if they want to go to college, and if so, like you're not going to go to college for basketball. It's
Mm-hmm.
a very, very expensive way to find yourself in college.
Yeah, I remember
You're
that.
going to be a doctor, like, yeah, go to college. But if you're not sure, like, you may want to just hop around like the job circuit before you just commit that much debt and time to college. Not saying it's wrong to go to college. Find out what you like, have a plan before you do.
Well, I don't want to go too deep on this. We were talking today. We're talking about the short-term rental tax loophole, but I even just look back at my ancestors. You know, I was listening to something like my people were brought here to work, right? That's where the period for me, and I'm not speaking for anybody else. So I have to figure out right now where I can exist in being an owner, not only real estate but being a business owner. So when I look at this, the way things are all set up, how can we use this system for our advantage, man? That's all.
Yeah, hopefully people that's getting forgiveness, whether it's PPP or student loans, like able to kind of free themselves up to put money somewhere else where they can start to buy assets.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's all about. That's what it goes back to our first conversation of just like it's about acquiring cash flowing assets.
There you go.
Because like I said, like whatever happened with the dollar or whatever type of money that you have, like it's going to be
It's gonna be something.
Something's going to happen to it. Something's going to drive the value down. So all you can do is just keep putting yourself in the position of I still got capital coming in, covering my bills, living a certain lifestyle, so forth and so forth.
So, greetings, class. It's Chris Haskins. I'm going to be your co-pilot today as we fly over the United States and talk about the short-term rental tax loophole with my man Larry Pendleton CPA. How you doing, my brother?
Doing great. But yourself?
Man, I am up to my ears in children back to school and band, violin, but I'm thankful to be here. Thank you for pushing me, by the way, my friend. You're making sure we're getting on time with this thing.
No, man, the schedules are tight, so whenever we have time to do this weekly thing, I want to try to push as much as we can.
Thank you.
I get info to share with people.
Yeah, man. So Larry comes on once a week. We'll come on here. We don't have a set day, the Tuesday, Wednesday. Generally speaking, we'll come during the day just to talk about updates in real and taxes for the real estate investor. So today, Larry has a topic. I have no idea what he's going to talk about. So I have the pleasure of kind of hearing what his thinker brain has been thinking about. He seems like he's very analytical. So Larry, the short-term rental tax loophole. What in the world are you talking about?
So before we go too deep, everybody knows. I mean, short-term rentals, Airbnb, VRBO. To speak from personal experience, like it actually helps save our real estate investments throughout COVID because allowing people to not pay rent. Rent relief was slow, so like you just can't operate a business that way. So switching to short-term rentals became a huge benefit for us.
Towards the end, well, not to say towards the end, but not at the beginning, Larry. We had nobody was traveling at the beginning.
Yeah, but I guess towards the middle
to the end. Yeah.
So, but where we were placed at, we were near the Naval Hospital, like certain places where it's like people still had to be there.
Yeah.
So that's where it came like a focal point for us. Okay, like not so much worried about the nightlife or business conferences. It's like, okay, can we get near hospitals?
Gotcha.
People need to be there for a short period of time. So that would kind of kept us afloat, as of course with the tax business being as seasonal as it is. was a really really good exchange
Good.
of keeping the cash flow going and then keeping getting everything always stabilizing but restabilizing in a way where we can get things back to self sufficient and build from here.
Cool.
But I bring that up because there with 2022 being the last year of 100% bonus depreciation, and for those that don't really understand that, like when you buy a property, one of the incentives that we talked about before, the government is they incentivize real estate investors by saying, okay, you can recoup the costs over the building over a certain period of time, typically 27.5 years. 39 years we're talking about commercial properties.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to bonus depreciation, that only qualifies for certain properties, typically like your 5-year, 15-year property, and that's more of your furniture, ceiling fans, driveways, parking lots. Those are typically going to fall into your 5 or 15-year or 7, anything less than 20 years. Those type of items are going to fall into there. So people jump into real estate hearing about these benefits of depreciation and all of that, and then turn around and realize that they can't really use the losses on their personal tax return. Primarily because, one, they're not a real estate professional. That means they're like more than their work time is not in real estate.
Say that again. Say that again. They can't use them because of what, Larry?
Like, one, they're not considered a real estate professional. So it's called real estate professional status, or REPS, which is always a hot topic because people are trying to find different ways to qualify for it. But
do people get in trouble? Do people get in trouble for education on that too? I just want to ask you that because somebody might be wondering too. Like spending $10,000. Go ahead.
What people do get in trouble for that is very highly litigated by the IRS because it's so easily manipulated. Because it's not based on your title. Like, it doesn't matter if you're a real estate agent or a broker. If you're not tracking your time and then putting your time in the right areas, you're not going to meet real estate professional status.
Mm-hmm.
Have a lot of wholesalers, a lot of agents who have like full-time jobs and they're doing real estate on the side. So if it's probably more than half your work time in a real property trade or business, you're not really hitting that if you're having a full-time job. Or it's very difficult. Everyone hears about 750 hours. Like, hey, you got all like, it's easy to hit 750 hours, which is like 63 hours a month, something like that, in a year. But once again, are you spending more than half? Like for me, like, I have a portfolio in multiple states and land and all that, but I'm not considered a real estate professional because most of my time is spent on my taxes.
Wow.
So it's just kind of painting that picture for people.
That's deep, brother.
Now, the short-term rentals come into play here is because depending on the length of stay for your guests, the government does treat those type of properties as commercial transit. Mainly if the average stay is 7 days or less, like a true short-term rental, so no mid-term rentals. A lot of people get into travel nurses. I get into travel nurses. Like, those properties don't count unless you can get that average stay down to 7 days or less. The properties that are commercial transit from there. And then the whole real estate professional status is all kind of wrapped into not so much of you're just running rental properties.
Okay.
So now the hurdle that you have to prove, like with any business, is that you are materially participating, or are you actively involved with the day-to-day operations of your business. So like Chris, like you with your all the different YouTubes and all that you got going on, me, like I can prove that I am like actively involved with my tax business, but can I prove that I'm actively involved with my short-term rentals? So now I don't have to be a real estate professional to claim any potential tax losses that's created by my property. And
Hmm.
what's creating the losses is not only depreciation but the bonus depreciation. So if I can sit here and say that I buy a property for $100,000, 20% of that is land value, and then so out of that 80,000 that's left over, let's just say 30,000 of it is 5, 7, 15-year property. I now have a $30,000 deduction I can put on my books, and I can recognize on my books now.
Hmm.
Because
So,
most likely it's going to offset all of my income from my property, and then I can now go into offsetting my business income.
so are you saying that you can do this even if you're not a real estate professional on short-term
Yes.
rentals?
Yes.
Ah, you see, y'all, we got to get Larry. He's got the high thinking mind. We got to bring him down a little bit so I can pull the meat out. So, all right, so I'm getting this too. So, even though, so for me, I know I'm a real estate professional. Period. It ain't no questions about it. So, I'm not worried about me. I'm worried about the people that were having a W-2 job
Yeah.
and
So this
possibly. Go ahead.
no go ahead. I mean, you're on point. Like I say, for somebody like you, it doesn't like you're a real estate professional. Like we're not really too concerned about that.
Yeah,
This is really for a lot of listeners who are kind of
the
balancing, like,
majority, I would say, majority of
yeah,
viewers.
so who are running a business that's not real estate related, but they're still doing real estate on the side, or they got a W-2 job and doing real estate on the side. So like this has
Gotcha.
been a big push for a lot of people. Um, One, the numbers just pencil differently. You're talking about short-term rentals, but like I said, it is a lot of additional lead work. You're talking about
Hmm.
higher quality stuff that people want to like almost like hotel type of
Into the unit.
right. So once you have that factor in, you like I say you want to make sure you have a good investment before you start going into short term rental. But then how are you going to be actively involved if
Hmm.
you're I mean a lot of people are just doing it all electronically anyway, dealing with the guests, managing the contractors and the cleaners, so forth and so forth. But there are hurdles of proving material participation when it comes to that business. And like I say, it's just making sure you got all those T's crossed and I's dotted there.
Well, I mean, that's pretty simple. If you have the listing, you listed it, you can print it out right there and show somebody that it's coming right to your phone.
Yeah, but there's also qualifications when it comes to material participation. So I'm gonna share.
All right, break it down, Larry. Material participation. I don't even know what that means. I love it. Let me Google it. That's why I ain't worried about getting a college degree. I can just Google everything.
There you go.
Material participation. I never. What if you're according to bank rate, material participation refers to a set of criteria used. Oh, you gonna do this?
No, you go ahead. You go ahead. Break down your.
No,
You
you hit
see?
it. I'm gonna share your screen. I'm gonna share it. You ready? Go.
You see my screen.
Yep.
So we got everyone that's hearing about reps or real estate professional status. So
I didn't even know what that. I guess I cleaned it so long ago. I don't even think about it.
yeah, typically it's like 750 hours, qualifying hours, and that can be property management. You can be an agent. You can be a contractor. So long as it's related to the business, you have these hours. You can go towards that. But the second piece of it, what really trips a lot of people up, is more than half your work time. So if you don't hit both of these hurdles, and these are the same hours, like the same type of time, same like it could be others, etc. Um, so unless you're hitting both of those, you're not going to hit real estate professional status.
Hmm.
But even with real estate professional status, you still got to prove I'm just gonna put MP for material participation. And there's multiple ways you can do like one like you're the only one involved. Like you're doing the property management, you're doing the work, like you're doing basically everything.
So I'm presuming only you. That won't be a W-2. That will be like somebody
Yeah,
small investor.
I say you can it can be a W-2 person. It's just like I say, it's just once again, what's the value of your time when you're having to do all these things as well. So because like I said, what makes real estate professional status different from material participation is that REPS does factor in your W-2 time. Material participation doesn't.
I got you.
Um,
Scary stuff.
so another one is you have 100 qualifying hours
A week? I mean, a month?
a year,
Okay.
and more than anyone else. So, and basically from that standpoint, there, like once you hit 100 hours, there's a thing from a prop. Let's think from a short term rental perspective, where you may have a contractor come in, they may do 30 days worth of work. You may have cleaners come in multiple times during the year. So part of that is like you're tracking the hours of other people, and you're figuring out, okay, how much time are they spending cleaning every time someone moves out, or how long did the contractor take. So like if they exceeded 100 hours, then you have to exceed what they make hours wise as well. And then those hours, once again, are the same as real estate professional hours. They're the same type of hours. Um, it's just related to your property itself. Now the 750 over here, this is just general. Like you can be a property manager for someone else or your property, but this is 100 hours for your property.
I gotcha.
And then the third one, there's more, but these are the top three that most people are shooting for. Only you, 100 hours and more than anyone else, and then 500 hours. Same type of hours is here. No one else, like not factoring anybody else from that perspective. Like, can you prove that you put 500 qualifying hours into your property to prove material participation? So there's others, but like these three make up 99.9% of what people are going to be shooting for when it comes to proving material participation.
Gotcha. Interesting stuff, brother. So I don't want people to. So the short term, give us the kind of the statement that you would say for people that work full time and are doing short term rentals regarding how this is a loophole for them there.
So the short term rental strategy. Let's go STR.
Oh, you got there. Is this if you own it and or manage it too, Larry?
This is if you own it. You're only going to get depreciation on it like if you own the property. So the short term rental. Average stay 7 days or less. So that's one of the criteria that you have to prove. And then two, you then material participation that we discussed up here. Can you prove one of these three things? Like while at the same time running your business or with a W-2, like this is something like I have to do because like that's why I buy short term. One, the cash flow is great. Two, I can get deductions on. We have these two items checked. Then any passive, it's still going to be considered passive loss. Like the losses themselves are still going to be passive, but then we're going to treat them as non-passive because you have your average stay and your material participation for short-term rental. So passive losses, which are typically not, depending on your income, typically are not deductible on your personal tax return if you're over a solid over a certain dollar threshold. Your passive losses are now active.
Oh man, that is cool.
So now you're able to use that to offset W-2 business, stock income, whatever you got going on. You can now blend those worlds from there. And once again, what creates the passive losses is depreciation.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very important to point out this is a non-cash expense, which means you can get property 70% finance, or but you get 100% of depreciation associated with it.
Mm-hmm. Depreciation doesn't care about financing.
No, it does not factor it in at all. Plus, you get the interest written off as well, so you get an additional double benefit off of that. Then from that property there, I'm just gonna put cost segregation. I can never remember how to spell segregation, so I'm just gonna put cost seg.
That's cool.
So what the cost seg is going to do is break up the different components of your property into 27.5, 15, and 5-year property.
This is crazy.
So this is going to be really if it's short-term rental, it's really going to be 39 a year.
What's a different depreciation schedule for short-term rentals, Larry?
Yeah, because now your short-term rental is just considered commercial, like transit commercial property.
What?
Commercial property depreciates at 39 years. So your office buildings, basically that's probably a prime example. Like you're basically being compared to office building at that point.
Okay, I didn't know that either. That's shocked to know that.
Yeah. So this is going to be really the base. So typically you have like your roof, like new walls, like anything, hardwood flooring, basically anything that is not easily detached from the building is going to be considered 39-year property.
Gotcha.
And then your 15-year property, you have driveways, patio, fences. So these are all things on the outside of the building itself.
Okay.
And then your 5-year, so you got your appliances. I think I probably spelled that wrong.
That's it.
Furniture. Yeah.
Okay.
I think I may have spelled that wrong too.
You good, bro? We know you do numbers, man. We ain't mad at
you. So your furniture,
just put
even
FURN. Carpet.
So and people will see like the two different floorings, but carpet can easily be unstable, rolled up, moved to the next one.
Yeah.
You try to remove a hardwood floor, like you may not be able to use that flooring anywhere else.
It lasts way longer though. I mean, everybody knows that.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. It also lasts a lot longer. So with our 5 and 15-year proposition there.
You broke up, Larry. You said with a 5 to 15, what?
So your 5 and 15-year property, that's your bonus depreciation.
Okay.
Those are what qualify for bonus depreciation. which basically means that instead of depreciating them 5 and 15 years, you can fully depreciate them in year one.
That's called seg.
With the cost segregation is what breaks it up into the typically people just see the purchase price and that's it. They most buyers and most sellers aren't really breaking these things up into these multiple components.
Yeah.
So it's really more of a year one.
Gotcha.
A fully year one strategy, because after year one, all your 5, 15-year property is gone and you're still depreciating the 39-year over. So you're not going to have, this is not a large deduction year after year for the same property. Like it'll take properties the next year and so forth to continue to generate the losses once again to help offset your income.
Okay. I don't want to get too deep on that one. I want to keep them on the short-term rental mindset then, because a lot of people there were doing arbitrage where they rented out a property from a landlord and then put it on short-term rental. So that will not be qualifying for them. How would we be looking at that, Larry?
Yeah, so if they're doing an arbitrage, they wouldn't qualify because depreciation is based on ownership. So none of this will really be applied to them. Like I said, they can still write off like their lease payments, and they'll still get all the other deductions. They just won't get depreciation.
So they won't get depreciation, but what about being a professional and qualifying for certain things?
Yeah, so depending on what else they got going on, like I said, they'll all kind of fall into management.
Gotcha.
Of the property itself. Now, once again, are they balancing being a W-2 or a business owner outside of real estate with doing the arbitrage? And then because they may have other properties that they do own, and then they could possibly qualify for this strategy. But if they're not hitting their certain hours and work percentages, then like I say, it may be a mute point for them.
Yeah, gotcha. All right, y'all be careful out there. Don't be depreciating properties you don't own.
Yes.
Be a bad day for you. Well, some people might not know. Right? You don't know. You think you're running the whole show and you put it on your tax returns. It's because you're managing the property. Doesn't mean that you get to do all that stuff.
Yeah, and it's like I say, because you do have a lot of tax advisors as well as cost seg companies that are like pushing it, but the cost seg companies they aren't your tax preparer or tax advisor. They're just pushing out the report. Now whether like that doesn't mean the report is wrong. It's just what can you use from it,
and who can use it,
and who can use it from there. And then if your tax advisor doesn't really understand this, they can falsely report this stuff because it's easy to have that conversation with someone because they able to put $30,000 of losses from this cost seg and provide this huge refund. Like it's easy to have that conversation instead of telling someone, no, you don't qualify for this for X, Y, and Z. And then what people try to do is try to like shop around their tax advisor, and it's like it's not. You're still not addressing the matter of you don't qualify. How do you put yourself to qualify? And this is where talking with your advisor throughout the year helps, where you're not in the midst of trying to file right before April 15th and realize you can't get this benefit because you wasn't informed during the year.
Gotcha. All right, Larry, I had you here 45 minutes. I don't see any other questions that came in, but so how do people get in touch with you if they want to possibly hire you for a consultation to look at their tax thing? I know you're a super busy guy.
Is always, like I said, the QR code is always the best way to get to my page and set up a consultation or intro call. I said, looking forward to helping add value where I can.
Yep. So short-term rental tax loophole. That is so cool. So people, all you people out there that are W-2 earners, you're good. I think a lot of people just have one. Well, from my experience, a lot of people do have one rental property, and then they work full time and they're trying to figure out how to get the highest and best use out of that rental property. Because once again, just my opinion, traditional tenants ain't gonna do it for you. Ain't gonna do it.
Unless you're doing a large volume, but like that takes time, that takes teams. Like so um, you have to kind of think beyond that at that point. So
That's right.
That's why more people kind of get into the multifamily because the scales of economy is there.
That's right.
But you can still have a solid cash flowing portfolio of single families and condos. Is just what who you marketing to, and do they are they going to accept the rents that you're putting out there?
Yeah, too high. I think a lot of us have this misconception, though, man. Even for me, I thought I was gonna get in and just get 10 rental properties, have them all cash flow, and then I get another 10. It just, I don't know. Single family homes just all around. You got repairs, vacancies, people not paying. There's so many different variables that I don't think we see them when we get into the real estate business. That's all.
Yeah, I think I was part of that as well. Like about one rental a year, and continue to grow, and it's like this is going to take a while. And
a lifetime.
Yeah, I think you even said before, like have a water heater go out or HVAC go out. Like that's your that's your cash of the year. Like say you're doing good if you're making $100 a door. You're doing great if you're doing like 200 and up from there. Like I said, it's just different strategies. I know a lot of people get into the lease options and just like, hey, like just have the tenant take care of that for themselves.
Lease options.
So like there's a lot of different ways to leverage your property for better cash flow.
There you go. All right, y'all, get out of those traditional rentals, man. They're gonna burn you up. I met a young gentleman over the weekend. Got his first traditional rental, $300 a month. I'm like, one repair just wipes you out, y'all. Yeah. Okay, listen, subscribe to the channel, like the content, share with any other investors that are thinking about getting into the short-term Airbnb, travel, and professional rental business. Larry just showed you this tax loophole. I didn't even know it was there. So
you didn't even need it.
Yeah, I know. But still, it's not for me. I don't do this for me. My daughter's like, Dad, why you do this? I don't do this for me. I do this for my people. So, and you do too, right? You could be doing. We both of us. We be doing a million other things. So we're here for the people. So
yeah. Happy. Hope someone got some value from it. So
that's right. All right. Round up. I see you guys on the next video. Make sure you better be subscribed. We're opening up my inner circle over the next few weeks. So it's only going to be a few seats for people that want to blow their real estate business up. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.